This is the current state of my desk, and it's embarrassing. But in my defense, while I have loads of storage in this room, I don't have anything over here. So I need a storage solution that's going to hold things like remote controls, pens, diaries, headphones, and just general stuff. I want to make a desk pedestal, but as you can see, there's not a great deal of space under my desk, and I want to keep the legroom I have. I also want it to complement the other furniture in the room. As usual, I'm just going to try and make use of what I have already, and don't tell anyone, but I have quite a bit of birch ply back here that I bought back in 2020-ish when we were renovating our kitchen. This stuff is obviously very expensive now. It basically doubled in price, going from around £55 to £60 per sheet to about 130. This is only 12mm, but the thing that I'm about to build is going to be quite small, so I think I'll get away with this. And needless to say, I really want to make good use of what I have here. After cutting panels with the plunge saw, I just want to make sure that they are nice and consistent in size, and I want all the joinery to be hidden, so I'll use the domino. And it wasn't long before I made my first mistake. The minimum plunge depth setting on the domino is 12mm. And for some reason I thought that referred to the thickness of the material that I could make the cut into, rather than the actual depth of the plunge. And so on my very first plunge, I went right the way through the opposite face of the board. So for the remaining mortises, I made sure to plunge most of the way, stopping myself a couple of millimeters before breaking through. On further investigation, there are some solutions online which involve adding plastic shims to the bars, but after chatting to Peter Millard at 10-Minute Workshop, he suggested it could be because Festool expect you to use the shorter 4mm bit in the tool. Anyway, I've created a problem that I need to fix, but for now, I'm going to get this assembled. So I cut a small patch at the bandsaw, and after setting up a straight router bit to cut to the thickness of that, I can attempt a patch repair. I'm using hard wax repair sticks to fill any tiny gaps around the perimeter. It's not perfect, but much better than it was. My carcass measures 300mm wide internally, and from that I'll deduct an inch, 25.4mm, for the two drawer runners that I'll be fitting later, which each measure ½ inch, 12.7mm, to give me the width that my drawer boxes need to be. And then the depth of my drawer boxes just needs to be a bit less than the depth of the carcass. I'm not going to waste the birch ply on the drawer boxes. Instead I have some 12mm beech-faced ply here. There'll be lots of voids to fill, but it'll do the job, and I'm not precious about how it looks on the inside. I want 4 of my drawers to be quite shallow because of what I'll be storing inside, and one slightly deeper at the bottom. For the bottom of the drawers I have some salvaged hardboard, which came from an old piece of furniture. Normally I would want to use ply here, but because these drawers are going to be quite small and light duty, I'm not going to be storing anything heavy inside, so I'll make use of what I have here. I like to cut these to size before assembling the drawer boxes, as securing the bottoms will help pull the drawer boxes into square. And I wouldn't use this hardboard for floating style drawer bottoms, as it'll just bend out of shape over time, but with it glued in place, this will be plenty strong enough for what I need. If I stack up all of my drawer boxes and measure the height, I've got 431mm. There's going to need to be a space at the top and the bottom and in between each drawer, so that's 6 gaps. And the carcass opening height is 520mm. So if I take my carcass height, deduct the height of the drawers, that gives me 89mm, divide that by my 6 gaps, and 14.8 will be the gap between each drawer. Now for the first of 2 Amazon bargains that will feature in this video. These drawer runners were £21 for 5, which work out at £4.20 per pair, which is about as cheap as I've found them anywhere. I set my drawer runners in from the front of both the drawer and the carcass by 3mm. While these are a little shorter than the depth of my drawer boxes, they'll still give plenty enough opening to get things inside. These spacers should give me that 15mm gap that I need between each drawer. Right, a quick break for some very exciting news. We've not only managed to capture footage of a tawny owl in our back garden, hopping around looking for food, but also a barn owl, who seems to enjoy perching on the garden room that I built last year. All of this was captured on 2 new cameras we installed recently from Reolink, who are kindly sponsoring this video. I've always loved owls, and I had no idea that Barney and Tawny were frequenting our garden at night, and now the first thing I do each morning is to check the footage to see if we had any visits the night before. First there's the Omvi, and what makes this different is its triple lens dual view system. Up top you have an 18 megapixel ultra wide dual lens that gives you a continuous 180-degree panoramic view, perfect for capturing a wide area like this side of our bungalow. Below that is a motorized 4K pan and tilt camera with 350-degree pan and 50-degree tilt for capturing fine details. But the best part is it's subscription free. All your data is stored locally, either on a micro SD card up to 512 gigabytes, or you can do what I've done, connecting it directly to an NVR or NAS. In the Reolink app, it gives you a seamless dual view. Unlike older systems where tracking left you blind elsewhere, Omvi's 180-degree panoramic view stays completely fixed. The AI-powered panoramic camera detects movement, and the lower PT lens automatically locks on, zooms in, and tracks the subject across the space, all without ever losing the big picture. You can also manual override instantly. Just tap anywhere on the panoramic preview, and the PT camera immediately sweeps to focus on that exact spot. You can even set up automatic patrol routes with up to 64 preset points. Secondly, there's the Reolink TrackFlex floodlight, which we used to replace this old floodlight at the back of our bungalow where we already had a power cable and junction box. The TrackFlex, with its motion sensor, floods the yard with light and gives impressive clear colour night vision, and obviously the floodlight alone is a massive deterrent for any unwanted visitors. If you want comprehensive, reliable protection for your property with 0 monthly fees, we've been really happy with the performance of our Reolink cameras, and we'll be trying out more in future. Scan the QR code on screen now, or use the links below to pick one up today. I have some sapele offcuts I can use to make the drawer fronts, and I need to figure out how big each one needs to be. As this is quite thick, I'll resaw it to give me more material to work with. I use hot glue to get the drawer fronts positioned where I want them, getting all of my gaps consistent. And then the large drawer front needs cutting to size. This one was too big to resaw at the table saw alone, so I did as much as I could there before bringing it to the bandsaw. I have some of these 20mm hardwood beads, and I'll use these to trim the front edges of the carcass. I want them to protrude a couple of millimeters beyond the face of the drawer fronts. While I'm waiting for glue to dry, I have some casters. I don't remember where these came from, but I'm going to use these on the bottom. And now the glue is cured, I can bring the edges flush. I'm going to be using 3 different finishes on this project. I'll mask off the trim here as I want to apply a water-based varnish to the birch ply, which will keep it nice and pale in colour. Then I applied an oil to the dark wood to make it darken even more and bring out that beautiful grain. Down here I have some old panels that came from some kitchen cabinet doors. And beyond this thick layer of paint is some lovely solid oak. I'll use this to make a top panel. And the finish I'm using here is a hard wax oil but with a white pigment added to counteract some of the ambering that oil finishes usually give. I need to make a back panel next, and usually what I would do is use a rebate bit like this one in the router to cut a rebate all around and then set my panel inside. But because this back panel is going to be visible when you walk into the room, I kind of want a bit of a neater look than that. And I have some nice 6mm birch ply for this. I'm only going to need a small bit from this sheet. So what I'm going to do is rebate the back panel instead. I fitted my flat tooth grooving blade and I'll set it to cut almost all the way through the material, leaving one ply left. This should now fit nicely inside. And once I got the clamps off, I can clean up those edges. And I was really happy with this look. You may know by now that I've got a bit of a thing for solid brass. I ordered these handles on Amazon. They said they were solid brass, but to be honest, I was expecting them to show up only to find that they are either aluminium or nickel with a gold coating, but these are actually solid brass. And I hope I'm not coming across as some kind of Amazon fanboy in this video, because I'm definitely not one, but they were a bargain. After waiting overnight, I can denib and then get my second coat of hard wax oil on. Now, because the grain in this top is oriented in this direction, it's going to expand and contract across the grain. So I'm going to need to allow for that with my mounting holes, which I will drill oversized just to allow it to move when it needs to. It was important to me to make this quite a small size because I still want to be able to reach the curtains from this side. I've also treated myself to one of these desk mats, as my mouse hasn't been tracking so well recently, so this seems to help with that. In a previous video that I made about making my office a better place to be, I got a lot of comments saying that I shouldn't keep my PC on a carpeted floor like this, and I had no idea that was bad, so I just spent a bit of time with some scraps of MDF making basically a riser block. I did consider putting a drawer inside this too, but to be honest, I think I've got enough drawers now. Now I have a tidy desk, who knows for how long? And that's it for this video. Thank you for watching.